Disney's first people of color as the leads. I mean, I guess the last official Disney movie where they depicted another nationality might have been the Three Caballeros in the 40s. The last film that Howard Ashman had any really input in what makes Aladdin special and how is it interesting on the Disney canon. Hello, my name is Em, and I am currently on a journey where I am watching every single Disney animated movie in chronological order by release and ranking them on a tier list with my husband. But before we get into our thoughts, I like to give some history and historical context for the films themselves. Aladdin was released on November 11th, 1992. The film is based on the Aladdin folktale from 1001 Nights. The film stars Scott Weinger as Aladdin, with Brad Kane providing the singing voice for Aladdin, Robin Williams as Genie and the Peddler, with the singing voice for the Peddler being provided by Bruce Adler. I actually really don't know the reason why they changed the singing voice, because Robin Williams sings Friend Like Me. Don't ask me why. Linda Larkin as Jasmine, with Leah Salonga providing her singing voice, Jonathan Freeman as Jafar, Gilbert Gottfried as Iago, Frank Welker, who has done so much for the Disney company. He voiced Dumbo in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Louis the Hot Dog Vendor in Oliver and Company, Max in Little Mermaid, and Marahute and Joanna in The Rescuers Down Under. And Frank Welker voices Abu and The Cave of Wonders. Douglas Seal, who voiced Krebs in The Rescuers Down Under as Sultan, and Jim Cummings as Razul. The concept for Disney to adapt Aladdin came from Howard Ashman in 1988. He had actually written a 40-page script treatment of the story, envisioning it being set in the 1930s. He then started composing this concept with Alan Menken. He even added some original characters that were not in the original folktale, namely Aladdin's friends Babcock, Omar, and Kazim. I was about to start singing the song. I'm so sorry. These characters did actually end up in the musical version of the movie, so the Broadway musical version. I'm going to drop my opinion about the musical right here. I might talk about it a little bit more later. I think it is one of my favorite adaptations that Disney has done of their movies. It's definitely up there. I like the music. I like how it was adapted. I love the duet between Aladdin and Jasmine. And I also love Jasmine's song that she sings in the musical. So, the Aladdin project was sadly put on hold in favor of Beauty and the Beast because CEO Michael Eisner thought that a story set in the Middle East would not be as appealing as the concept of Beauty and the Beast. So, Linda Wolferton, who had worked on the script for Beauty and the Beast, would take concepts from Howard Ashman and Alan Menken to flesh the story out, adding Jafar, Abu, who at the time was a retired human thief and a handmaid for Jasmine. I don't know when Abu was changed to be a monkey. But I have my suspicions, and I'll talk about that later. So Ron Clements and John Musker, who directed The Little Mermaid, chose to direct Aladdin, picking from the options of Aladdin, an adaptation of Swan Lake, and what later would become The Lion King. Before Howard Ashman passed away in March of 1991, several songs were composed, namely Arabian Nights, Friend Like Me, Prince Ali, and the cut Humiliate the Boy. A draft of the screenplay was written and delivered to Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was the chairman at the Disney company at the time, in April of 1991, but Jeffrey Katzenberg felt that the script was not engaging enough, and on a day nicknamed by Disney staff as Black Friday, he asked for the entire project to be rewritten and still completed by the deadline of Thanksgiving 1992. Like I said in my Beauty and the Beast video, most animated projects take 4 years to develop from the start of the concepting to the end where it gets to the screen. So the fact that they gave them like a year and a half is crazy. Crazy town. This is even less than they gave in Beauty and the Beast. If you want to know more about that, watch my Beauty and the Beast video. Along with the whole complete saying you have to overhaul this whole thing, was the suggestion to not be too heavily reliant on Howard Ashman's version and to cut Aladdin's mother. From accounts, it doesn't seem like Jeffrey Katzenberg was very nice about this. Also, given that the day was nicknamed Black Friday, let's just say I don't think that Jeffrey Katzenberg was very kind about this. If you want to know how Jeffrey Katzenberg was as a boss, I ask you to watch interviews where his former employees talk about him. Because clearly, it's like one of those things where, like, you really want to spill the tea. But you're also like, this is the behind the scenes of a Disney movie. Like, this is the making of a Disney movie. I don't want to say heinous things about my former boss. But I have a feeling there was something else there. I have a whole thing about him. I think, here's the thing. I think very good. He was a very good, very creative person. That does not discount the fact that I still think he's a jerk. Katzenberg's suggestions were also to change Jasmine's specific age from 16 to saying that she needed to be married by her next birthday rather than by her 16th birthday. Jeffrey Katzenberg also suggested that the law changed to be saying that she needed to marry a prince. So that it had this big old grand moment so the Sultan could be like, oh my gosh, I changed the law because you guys are so in love. And yes, that happens in the movie. And yes, it does have an impact. I'm not saying he has bad ideas. I'm just saying I don't like the guy. Sue me. It's my YouTube channel. I can have my own opinions, and I'm feeling a little spicy today. Screenwriting team Ted Elliott and Terry Russo, best known for writing Shrek and the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, were brought in to write the new script for Aladdin. Their changes were cutting Aladdin's mother, kind of per Jeffrey Katzenberg's request, expanding Jasmine's character, and cutting some of the songs written by Howard Ashman and Alan Menken. Personally, for me, in another world, we got Howard Ashman's version fully realized. And keep in mind, he was very interested in the Aladdin story. He had known it and loved it since he was a kid. And so in a perfect world, I really would love to see what Howard Ashman would have done with Aladdin. They also rewrote Aladdin to have a rougher personality, and I think they aged him up as well. Like, he was supposed to be like a preteen-ish, given why he needed a mother, and then they aged him up to be late teens, early 20s vibes. Added Iago, who's more of a Zazu at the beginning of, like, this uptight, posh bird that was with Jafar, until Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio watched Gilbert Gottfried in Beverly Hills Cop 2 and were like, that's the guy. And they rewrote the character for him, and they ended up getting him. And I'm glad they did, because, oh my goodness, that bird is Gilbert Gottfried. And that's all I have to say. In October of 1991, Jeffrey Katzenberg was finally happy with the project, and work could continue with the version of the script that was Elliott and Russio's. Each animator was working on a single character, and due to the supervising animator for Aladdin, Glenn Keane, and the supervising animator for Jasmine, Mark Henn, working in different studios, one was in the studio in California, and the other was at the MGM studios in Disney World in Florida. They often had to talk on the phone, fax, or mail their designs to each other to be like, okay, I'm going to have mine do this. Are you doing how are we doing? Okay, great. Monkeys from the San Francisco Zoo were filmed by animators to study their movements for Abu. Okay, this is when I suspect Abu was changed to a monkey. With the new script, with the new version, that is when I suspect that Abu is now a monkey. There we go, full circle, boom, I got it. Anyway, the supervising animator for Iago, Will Finn, tried to incorporate some of Gilbert Gottfried's appearances into Iago, namely his teeth and the fact that he squints his eyes. The supervising animator for Jafar, Andres Deja, which I am the biggest fan of. I love Andres Deja. I love all of these people. Okay, I love all of these people as animators. But Andres Deja, I don't know why, just like the commitment and the love of animation that he has. And if you've ever seen interviews about him, he has such a love and interest in animation history. He's so great. And he tried to incorporate some of Jonathan Friedman's facial expressions into the character of Jafar. The color motifs in this film are actually interesting, with the protagonist almost always using lighter colors and the antagonist using darker and bolder colors, whereas the palace uses neutral colors. So Aladdin, as a character, kind of has a red and a purple thing going, but then, so I feel like Aladdin, as a character, kind of might be the juxtaposition between the two, showing that he's kind of a morally great character, because he kind of has the royal purple and the red, but then he also has the, this is a street rat outfit, by the way. But then he also kind of has the neutral colors and color scheme in his bottoms of the white and the brown. And so I kind of feel like it might be implying, maybe this is just me, maybe we're implying that that he is more or less neutral as the street rat. Anyway, CGI was used for the Cave of Wonders and the scene escaping the Cave of Wonders. I actually have thoughts about that. You'll hear that in my thoughts. Genie was actually created with Robin Williams in mind to play the part. What was unusual for the time was most of Robin Williams' dialogue was ad-libbed. Though ad-libbing was common in animated movies, it really only was a line or two rather than building the entire scene and character around ad-libs the way they did with Robin Williams. And in fact, I don't know if it will ever be done in the same way that they did with Genie ever again. So how this worked is 4 scenes. Robin Williams was given the outline and the topics that were needed to be covered in the scene, allowing him to ad-lib and improv the whole scene. To thank Disney for his breakout success in film, specifically dramatic film, in Touchstone's Good Morning Vietnam. If you don't know, Touchstone is a subsidiary of Disney. Disney has 1 billion studios under their belt. Even before they bought everything, they had 1 billion studios under their belt. So Touchstone is Disney. So thanks to Good Morning Vietnam, Robin Williams agreed to do the film for well below the normal asking price. The only stipulation being that his name and character be very minuscule in marketing due to his film Toys being released just a month later. I wonder how well Toys did. Disney actually kind of skirted by this. While they didn't use Robin Williams' name, they used his voice work in the film and in promotional material instead. He was not very happy with this. As with other marketing for films and TV shows, according to him, they need your permission to use your likeness. But because your likeness is not in animated movies, they can just do whatever they want. But also Disney was a little sneaky with it. I blame Jeffrey Katzenberg. I know there's other people at play. I blame Jeffrey Katzenberg. Jeffrey Katzenberg, if I see you, I'll be polite. Invite me to an event. But you're enemy number 1. I'll shake your hand. But in my head, I'll be like, that's Jeffrey Katzenberg. Why couldn't it be somebody else? I don't know what my beef is with this man. I feel like, tell me in the comments whether my beef with Jeffrey Katzenberg is valid or not. I feel like in some ways it's valid and other ways it's not. I think I'm in a fighting mood today. Whatever. There's a lot more to this story with Disney and Robin Williams. If you want to know more, absolutely do your own research. But this fractured relationship is the reason why he did not come back for The Return of Jafar. As I stated earlier, Howard Ashman passed away during pre-production. So this is the final project worked on by Howard Ashman and Alan Menken. Alan Menken coming back and doing many, many things with Disney, even modernly. He'll come back for those live actions. With Tim Rice taking over for Howard Ashman. And Tim Rice would later go on to do The Lion King. 14 songs were written, however, only 7 are in the final film. 3 written by Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, and 4 written by Tim Rice and Alan Menken. Aladdin had a premiere at the El Capitan Theater in Los Angeles, which is the theater that Disney owns at this point, and City Cinemas in New York City, where it grossed $469,755 in the first 5 days when adjusted for inflation. The film actually ended up grossing $45.8 million opening weekend alone when it opened to all of the cinemas, becoming second at the box office behind Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Oh boy, this is the second time we've mentioned Home Alone. I mentioned Home Alone quite a bit in my Rescuers Down Under video because they were competing. Aladdin actually ended up surpassing Beauty and the Beast as the most successful Disney movie in the domestic box office and even became the most successful movie of 1992, grossing over $1 billion when adjusted for inflation. At the time of release, this was the highest grossing for any animated movie. This is obviously, as I complain about often, not adjusted for inflation. Highest grossing animated movie without adjusting for inflation. When the VHS was released, in the first 3 days, 10.8 million units were sold, which was the fastest sales record at the time of any VHS. This made Disney, obviously, the muchoest bucks. Aladdin has been praised by critics for Robin Williams' performance, obviously, the cast of characters, and the comedy. Critics criticized the music, calling it subpar to The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. I just think because it was a different style, some people might not have, gravitated towards it. I will be honest, for me personally, I don't gravitate towards the music in the animated film as much as the other movies. Critics also called Aladdin and Jasmine bland. I don't feel like they're bland. In fact, crazy. I feel like they have a little bit more flavor than like Ariel and Eric. Sorry, not sorry. Even though I'm just going to say, this is my opinion. Even though I love all of them, I'm trying to argue with critics over here. And they also criticize the use of ethnic stereotypes. I know that has been a thing that people have talked about with this movie specifically. I can't talk on that. You're going to have to figure, like, somebody else on the internet has probably talked about that. That's not my place to talk about. It's not my place to talk about that. And I actually do talk about some things in my thoughts on that, but not too much. Aladdin was actually nominated for 5 Academy Awards: Best Original Score, Best Original Song, A Whole New World, and Best Original Song, Friend Like Me, Best Sound, and Best Sound Effects Editing. It won 2, Best Original Score. I think this is Alan Menken's 3rd time winning Best Original Score. And he deserves it. I love a good Alan Menken score. Give me that Alan Menken score. Oh my gosh, every single time I sit down and watch one of these movies, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot how good the score was. Oh my goodness. And Best Original Song, A Whole New World, which I love. A Whole New World. It is one of my favorite Disney songs, so I'm glad. A Whole New World also won Song of the Year at the Grammys, and this is the only Disney movie to have a song win Song of the Year. To date. So if you want to come in my comments and future-proof me, this is to date. Okay? Calm down. Aladdin is actually the film that is considered the catalyst for casting famous actors over voice actors in animated films and advertising it purely for the actors in the film. Even though Robin Williams said, keep my name off of it. Disney didn't listen. Did they? And Robin Williams is kind of the catalyst for this. I made a joke about it in my Beauty and the Beast video. So it gets worse. And definitely gets worse in animated movies. The Return of Jafar was released in 1994 as a direct-to-video sequel. I will be covering this. I believe that The Return to Jafar is the first direct-to-video sequel. Yay! So, since it's in 1994, you best believe we'll be covering it soon. And the Aladdin TV show series is a thing. I believe it started airing in 1994. I have no idea when it finished airing. My research could not keep me going there. And Aladdin King of Thieves was released on home video, direct-to-video, in 1996. I will also be covering Aladdin King of Thieves. The Magic Carpet of Aladdin is a ride at 3 theme parks. Magic Kingdom at Disney World, Walt Disney Studios Park at Disneyland Paris, and Tokyo Disneyland. The defunct, bring it back. Aladdin show at Disney's California Adventure at Disneyland Resort. I miss it. I think I saw it during 10 years ago, before it got replaced by Frozen. Around 10 years ago, during the Diamond celebration, the 60th. Not 10 years ago, it was 2015. Me when I lie. 11 years ago, before they closed it to make way for Frozen. And now that theater sits empty. Bring back Aladdin, cowards. Still exists at Tokyo Disney Sea. There is still an Aladdin show at Tokyo Disney Sea. and from the few seconds of a YouTube video that I watched, it looks cooler than even what California had. Okay. Aladdin premiered as a musical on Broadway in 2011. I've talked about Disney musicals. I talked about wanting to do Beauty and the Beast. If you want me to dive into Disney Broadway history, I would love that. But ask me. I'm a busy gal. The live-action adaptation of Aladdin was released in 2019. That feels like an eternity ago. So here's my fun fact section, which is not very big for this one. This is the only Disney princess film where the princess is not considered the main protagonist, rather the prince is. Prince in quotations, because is Aladdin really a prince? I digress. This is the first Disney Renaissance film where the main villain doesn't die. And this is the only Disney movie where the princess and the villain share a kiss. To date. Anyway, that's all I have for history. So thank you so much for watching to this point, and enjoy my husband and I's thoughts on Aladdin. So we just finished Aladdin, and I quite like this movie. I've liked this movie ever since I was a kid. It was also in my heavy rotation. I watched a lot of the Disney Renaissance as a kid. This was your first time watching it all the way through.
I would say I've probably seen it before. I only have two other memories. One is just from the various times growing up, kind of like a similar situation to Little Mermaid. But I do distinctly remember watching it in preschool. I don't remember the movie in preschool, but I remember sitting down. I think we were having snack time or coloring time or something, and they had a TV they were playing Aladdin on. So I have seen it. I just didn't remember it at all the way through till now.
Yeah. What did you think?
Pretty good. Yeah. Like, honestly, I'd put it in lower S or upper A. I didn't really have any problems. The only things is this is the first time that they really lean into that meta humor that you kind of see get perfected in Hercules.
Yeah.
And so there are some parts that are a little bit janky, but I do like that they mainly just kept it to the genie. There were a few other weird times they kind of toyed with it, but mainly just with the genie, so you can kind of like excuse it of like, oh, he's omnipotent, right? He probably just knows this stuff. But it is a little bit... So, and this is me being really nitpicky because I don't think this is a problem. I don't think this would affect its rating if I was. But I understand that can be off-putting, having come from all of the previous movies where that's not really a thing.
Some of it genuinely is 90s meta humor.
Yeah.
And some of it, I'm like, yeah, I know who that is. And then other times I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay. The thing is, if you have Robin Williams, you let him cook. And then I think there's another problem of when you have Robin Williams, you let him cook. Because there were just like, I felt like the intro of Genie into Friend Like Me was just slightly too long. And I've never felt that way. No. But like this watch, I was like, let's just jump into Friend Like Me. Let's not do this whole mess, please. I don't know. There's a few of the scenes, like, that was, like, the only time I think I felt that. I don't know. And I can't really say why. I just felt like it was, like, okay. Just a little bit. Just a little bit too long. Before Friend Like Me. Yeah, I really do like this movie. I think Disney has the pacing down pat. We are definitely in the era of villain climax, villain transforms into something vibes. I think...
Or just they get super strong in the climax.
Well, Yeah, I mean, you have the whole Gaston climax, which I guess maybe that one's interesting because it's different.
Yeah, so you could say him becoming super strong is him gathering the townsfolk. You could kind of see something like that.
Yeah. With Aladdin, something that I'm debating on why it should go into A is this cast is composed of no Middle Eastern actors.
Or at least Indian, because it's kind of like a mishmash between India and Middle Eastern.
Yeah, it's kind of ambiguous in some ways where Agrabah's supposed to be, but I think it's heavily implied it's supposed to be India in architectural things and, you know, in lots of different ways.
The Arabian Nights are Indian. I'm pretty certain. Let me actually check on that.
Yeah, I want you to double check that.
Like, I feel like...
Because I feel like I've heard something like that, but I'm not sure. Something we did praise is...
sorry to interrupt. It is marked as both Middle Eastern and South Asian is what it
South
says.
Asian.
Indian.
Okay, and Indian. Yeah. So, the closest we get to South Asian is Jasmine's singing voice being Filipino, I believe. Mm-hmm. And... also, I believe this is the movie where we get the concept of singing voices for the characters.
Like that being separate.
That being separate. That's not the case for all the movies. And that definitely hasn't been the case so far because I believe they've been casting mostly Broadway performers or people with singing experience. I'm going to go on a little bit of tangent because I have a lot of opinions on this. I believe that we should bring back dubbing and bring back having a different voice if they sing. If you can't sing or sing mediocrely, get out of here. Pay somebody else to do that crap.
Yeah. Or find an actor who can. Like, surely there are, like, if a person is vocally trained to sing... like, I don't think it's that far of a jump to vocally trained to act. I don't know. I'm not an actor nor a singer, but I feel like the principles would at least apply.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot harder to teach an actor to sing than to teach a singer to act.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me just tell you, as somebody who is a singer, it is and you have musical theater performers left and right who will jump on this chance. And so, to me, I'm like, cast a bigger name from that world rather than casting. I don't know. I have a big opinion on this. It's a big movie musicals thing. I believe, this is my big, astounding opinion, Moulin Rouge and Enchanted ruined that sphere. Because those actors were pretty big actors at the time, and it just so turned out that they could sing. And so for that reason, everybody's like, oh my gosh, every actor should be able to sing. No. Case in point, Pierce Brosnan in Mamma Mia. I hear this agitating, grating voice. I think that's Dance Mops. Anyway, that's my little tangent. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. And this isn't like Robin Williams singing Friend Like Me, where it's mostly his impressions and I know Robin Williams can sing.
Yeah.
But like, because of what he does and who he is as a performer, he can muddle through singing to me. And even like Danny DeVito in One Last Hope in Hercules. I know we're not talking about Hercules yet, but I wouldn't consider Danny DeVito much of a singer. Yeah. However, because he sells the performance, here's the thing. Depending on the character, you don't have to sound that good.
Yeah.
However, if you're a character that needs to sound good,
You better sound good.
You better sound good or hire somebody to sound good if that person doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Listen, A Whole New World and all of these musical numbers with Aladdin sound good because somebody else was hired to do them. He's actually incredible in this movie, and I really like him. However, issue at point. White actors. Boom.
Yeah.
If I condemned it in the 40s but gave forgiveness in the 40s, I'm going to condemn it in the 90s and not give it forgiveness in the 90s. It is the 90s now.
There actors did exist of these different ethnicities.
And I gave benefits of the doubts. I gave the benefit of the doubt when they said they tried to find an actor for Mowgli. That did not fit what they wanted. And they tried to find a Middle Eastern actor for Mowgli. Yeah. And they just couldn't find what they wanted. And so I was like, in the time of the 60s, I could understand that.
I would also give a little bit of grace because it's not like they're caricatures of these cultures. Of course, I agree. Ideally, if possible, it would probably be better to find actors of these ethnicities. But at least it's not like, stereotypes of these cultures. I feel like that would be
in some people's opinions, these are stereotypes of the cultures. I can't speak on that. That's not my place to say. That's somebody else's place to say.
I don't feel like they are. But again, I agree. It's not really my place to say. I'm not Middle Eastern or Indian.
Sometimes the lines can be blurred between cartoonish exaggeration and stereotypes.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. Some people, there's a line. Yeah. And sometimes that line to certain people can get crossed, but to certain other people does not get crossed. And so I understand that.
If I may change the subject, if that's okay, unless there was more you wanted to talk.
You can change the subject.
Okay. I had another thing I was thinking of as we were talking. You mentioned that you didn't really cling too far onto Jafar as a villain. Mm-mm. And I think I've kind of figured out why. I don't know if you think the similar, but at least for me, I feel similar about Jafar, but you may not have the same reasoning I do. I've talked before in this series that I do like villains who kind of represent a philosophy opposite from the protagonist. Mm-hmm. We'll even see that in a few of the other Renaissance. I think of Mulan's. Mulan's is very much a strong example of that, where her and her culture represents order, while the Huns represent chaos. Mm-hmm. Just as an example on there. You don't really see that with Jafar. Granted, Aladdin's not really a strong philosophical character, and maybe that just comes from the nature of the original story. I've not read it, admittedly. It may just come from the original story, not having something like that. But I feel like Jafar mainly is, and this isn't really a bad thing, but he's mainly there to try to usurp power, and that is his drive. They make that very clear that is his drive, which is a good thing. It means he is, as a villain, you know what he wants. And there's a reason why he's stuck around. It's probably for that reason. It's obvious of what he wants, but it doesn't feel like the impact with him and Aladdin is as sharp as it might be with, say, Todd and Amos, or other types of protagonist and antagonist clashes throughout Disney.
I agree. I don't know. I just I can see what you're saying there. I just don't think, while he poses a formidable foe, in just some ways, you're like, oh, so all you want is power? Great, get in line. This is what all these other villains want, but, they have, a establish this is what I want, like, and you could say he wants wealth and status. Get in line.
Yeah,
like,
I was going to maybe play devil's advocate a bit and say you could kind of see his search for power being opposite of Aladdin's, where Aladdin's wants to use the power for his goal while Jafar is seeking that power, but I don't feel like that's enough of a noticeable clash in thinking, if that makes sense. You know, it's very different from, say, those two versus Frodo and, why is the name dropped from my head?
I don't know, dude. I've only seen...
Gollum, thank you.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Between Frodo and Gollum, right? Even though Gollum isn't really a strong antagonist, he's not the villain of the story, you can still see that clash of thinking, where it's the similar dynamic. They both are using this power to do something, but Gollum uses it selfishly, and that is meant to contrast with Frodo's using it to eventually end the power and ease the suffering of other people. But yeah, so I think that is another thing I've been thinking about, is he's not very strong in his drives, but he is a good villain. He's a really good villain. He aesthetically is awesome. His abilities are great. You know, he as you said, he stands as a very good, formidable foe, but I feel like that aspect of it is kind of dull a little bit with Jafar. And that's what kind of keeps him from entering the top of the villains.
Yeah. I just want to say, I want to clarify. Despite the fact that I have a problem with Disney casting white actors or non-Middle Eastern actors in these roles, I still think they do a fantastic job. I just think at this point in the 90s, it is inexcusable.
Yeah. At least try. You know, I understand if you can't get them. Because, like, I mean, they are minorities, right? Maybe
to be
difficult.
fair, they did kind of remedy this with the live action version, but still, like, if you're representing these people and these cultures.
Well, yeah, but I was gonna say nowadays it's probably immensely easier to find a person of color for acting than it was back then.
Yeah.
Now, I understand, you know, if they tried and didn't find someone, but I don't actually know, because obviously you're doing the history part of it, and I don't even know if you would even look into something like this. But if you did, you know, it would be interesting to know if they actually did try seeking that out and they just couldn't find someone. Then I feel like that would tell something different.
No, this was the era where Disney was really selling who they were getting to play these characters. So if these people are big 90s people that I know Robin Williams, I know Gilbert Gottfried, and that's it.
You knew Jim Cummings?
Jim Cummings. I recognize Jim Cummings is in this, but Jim Cummings is like pretty niche. The average. No, he's really well known in the animation world. If you're really into animation, you know who Jim Cummings is. But to the average Joe, if I went on the street and I said, "Do you know who Jim Cummings is?" they'd be like, "Yeah, I went to high school with him back in '92." And it's just like this random Jim Cummings.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I feel like it'd be different from Danny DeVito or Robert Downey Jr. or
Robin Williams.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, by the way, I still mourn him. Like, we really did lose a good guy there. I love
actor of a person.
As much as I don't like Night at the Museum, please don't hate me. I don't really like Night at the Museum that much. He's like one of the only good parts of Night at the Museum for me.
Low-key kind of true. Him and the tiny Roman guy and the tiny cowboy, I forgot their names. I know.
Oh, Octavius.
Oh, yes, Octavius.
And, people are going to flame me in the comments. I know it's Owen Wilson, ka-chow.
Yes.
Owen Wilson, ka-chow.
Yes, those two. And, also the Moye statue.
Oh, yes.
Basically, the only
Yes.
good things about.
Oh,
the
I
movie.
think the guy who plays Attila the Hun is also funny too.
Yeah, he's pretty alright.
Don't watch the third one. I just remembered Larry,
It's kind of weird.
like the caveman version of him.
Anywho, back to where Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. I really like Robin Williams. I think that he does some good things here, and I don't think anybody else could do it but Robin Williams. And I feel like in some ways, oh my gosh, they try to replicate this in like every single movie after this.
About, like...
They have to have the comedian sidekick.
Oh, yeah.
We like with Mushu and Eddie Murphy, although I do love Eddie Murphy as Mushu. You'll hear me talk about Eddie Murphy as Mushu. And Danny DeVito as Phil. I have to think about any other ones. Oh, Timon and Pumbaa.
I was also thinking of Jumba and
Pleakley.
Pleakley. Yeah, I was thinking
Jumba and
about them.
Pleakley, like it kind of just develops that you have to have this kind of comedian style character.
Yeah.
You have to have this character played by a comedian, and you're just like,
well, I don't know if those two were actually played by a comedian, but I was just thinking like the style of
the characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the movie that started that. Thank you, Robin Williams.
True based.
Because it's okay with Disney, but then other studios get a hold of it, and it's, of course, because it's not Disney, it's not done as well.
I mean, Donkey's not bad. He's kind of the same
Donkey's
thing.
not bad, but keep in mind that's still Jeffrey Katzenberg. Anyway, I really do like this movie. I don't think it's my favorite. Oh, here's something. Here's what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about how the CGI in the Cave of Wonders, and I think in the flying out of the Cave of Wonders scene, how it elevates it, because it's the Beauty and the Beast ballroom scene where it makes it more full and and 3D, of course, because it's CGI and it adds more to the scene.
Yeah.
I think it's the same with Cave of Wonders and the escaping the Cave of Wonders scene.
That's what I was also going to point out, is also escaping the cave, I think, was improved a bit by it. You can clearly tell it's CGI, which does kind of suck. Cause,
It kind of looks like one of those old PS games.
Well, I was just going to say, I feel like the best imitation of a style is one you can't notice. But I feel like that doesn't happen as much here. But I get it. CGI was still newish. It was still a pretty new...
I will say it's done a lot better with the outside of the Cave of Wonders than it is with anything else.
Yes, the outside of the cave is best. You can still tell it's CGI, but it's pretty convincing CGI for animation.
Now that I'm thinking about this, I'm going to probably talk about this in my history portion, but do y'all remember when the Tropical Oasis at Disneyland, this is like a Tropical Oasis is like a newer thing. Do you guys remember when it used to be a whole Aladdin thing and an Aladdin stage show? Because I never saw the Aladdin stage show, but one time when I was a kid, we got a special lunch package at Disneyland, and we got to eat it inside that old restaurant. It used to be a dinner theater thing. So it had a stage thing, and it had all of these set pieces for it. It was actually really cool looking. And then I think I met Aladdin, Jasmine, and Genie there once. Or maybe that was part of the meal package. I can't remember. We only did the meal package thing once. Please don't call me a rich kid. It was a special thing that we did with my family. I think it's was when I went for my birthday one time, and a lot of family came. So we're let's do something fun. So that's where they had that. Probably because that might have been one of the only places to accommodate it. But it was just these prepackaged lunch things. But it was really cool to see that, because I don't think that it had been open for years as that. It was called Aladdin's Oasis. Yeah, and it was where Tropical Hideaway is now. Kind of cool piece of Disneyland history. What else do I want to say? Yeah, the music in this is incredible. Oh, the other thing is I really like the Aladdin musical. If you haven't had the chance to see the musical version of Aladdin, I would highly recommend it. I think it's a very good adaptation. I love the songs that they add. Some of my favorite songs from musicals are additions that they made to that musical. One of them I really like is a duet that's sung by Aladdin and Jasmine called A Million Miles Away. Another one that I really like is one that Jasmine sings called These Palace Walls. Oh, another thing I miss. Aladdin at the Hyperion. The real ones know the Aladdin at the Hyperion. I miss. So the Hyperion, honey, is that theater in Hollywood Land in California Adventure.
Yeah.
That when we went on our honeymoon did not have anything in it. Because it has not had anything in it. It has sat dormant for a while. For like the first time since like opening of California Adventure. That theater has been pumping things. It was Aladdin for so long. And I got to see Aladdin. And I really, really liked it. And then it closed.
So what was it? Was it
It was a shortened version of the movie. It was basically mostly just the songs. It was a live stage show version of the show, of the movie. Cool. It was like maybe like 20, 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Could not have been more than 40 minutes, 45 minutes maybe.
That's cool.
It was good. Listen, I feel like the attractions where you sit in an air-conditioned space and just look at things are highly underrated, okay? Where I just get to sit and I get to enjoy, whether it's a show, whether it's a film, whether it's a freaking boat ride. Turtle talk, I don't care. I like sitting in an air-conditioned space and just letting things go by me. Or I go by things. You know, I sit, I watch, you know. I feel like those attractions are highly underrated. I'm so sorry. This is a tangent. But I do miss Aladdin at the Hyperion. Who wants to help me with my change.org petition? Anyway, I do really like this movie. And I think that the other thing that we want, like, despite some of the genie stuff, pacing things that I had issues with, just like the one part. That's the only part of the movie where I was like, oh, I don't know about the pacing. Like, other than that, like, Disney has hit their pacing at this point. You know, like, they know what they're doing. They're putting down the money. And it's good.
Yeah, that was another thing we liked, was the better pacing.
Which has not always been the case in some of these Disney movies, especially in the 80s. So, like, now that they've gotten it, they're running with it. Yeah. I don't know. My favorite song is obviously A Whole New World. What's your favorite song?
I did like A Whole New World. I feel like that's probably the most recognizable. And then second most recognizable is Never Had a Friend in Me, or Like Me. I feel like those two are kind of the most recognizable ones. Okay, I feel like maybe Prince Ali maybe competes for second place.
I didn't ask you for the most recognizable. I asked you for your favorite.
Well, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about what songs there are. Are there any songs I'm missing?
You're missing Arabian Nights.
Oh, that's true. And I think Arabian Nights is my favorite.
It's kind of racist.
Uh-huh.
There's some lines in there.
I must have missed those lines. I was not paying attention. I like its tune. But out of those three, I think probably I do like...
Wait, no. And then there's one jump.
One jump?
One jump.
Oh, yes.
I really like that one.
Iconic, but I don't think it's my favorite.
What's your favorite?
Probably out of all those, probably A Whole New World, and then probably Arabian Nights. I do like Arabian Nights.
So where do we want to put it on our rankings?
I feel like high A is comfortable. It doesn't need to be top of A, but like
high. It doesn't go behind Cinderella.
It doesn't?
No, it goes behind Cinderella.
I was gonna say, I don't know.
It doesn't go above Cinderella in my mind.
Yeah.
Oh no. I have a really bad choice to make because it's Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland.
Are we gonna have to rewatch the movies so you can think about that?
No, because I have my personal preference.
Okay.
Why is Alice in Wonderland an A and not an S?
Me?
I feel like it's you.
Me?
I feel like it's you. I feel like it was a compromise.
I don't remember.
And now we're too far into the series for me to compromise.
Well, hey, it's your tier list. So I don't know why you are valuing my opinion into your tier list. Do you trust me?
Yes.
A whole new world. Oh, you okay? Raccoon down, raccoon down.
You gotta sing the song.
I don't know all the lyrics. Is it A Whole New World, A New Fantastic Point of View?
Yeah, sure.
Then what's the next line?
That's her line, though. New fantastic.
Oh, then what's his line then?
I can show you the world.
Oh, yeah.
Shining, shimmering, splendid.
All right. I can show you the world. Shining, shimmering splendor.
Splendid.
Oh, splendid? I thought you said splendor, sorry.
No, splendid.
Oh, well.
Do you want to...
Here you go.
Oh.
Like, comment, and subscribe. And know that you can always be yourself. That's the core message of the movie. It's better to be yourself than to be someone else.
Join my Discord if you want. Link is in my bio. And...
subscribe.
I'm trying to get to 200 subscribers by my YouTube anniversary at the end of August. So if you could help me to that goal, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.